Welcome, students, to my YouTube video on homeostasis. Pause the video and see if you can answer these questions. What is homeostasis? Can you give an example of negative feedback loop that promotes homeostasis? And how about a positive feedback loop? All right, how did you do? I hope you're able. Remember, if you can explain it to a friend or teach the concept, then you truly know it. Homeostasis is really important. It's the basis of modern medicine, right? I put a picture of Dr. Cannon here. He went off and fought in World War One. Well, not fought. He helped treat people during World War One, but he's up by the front lines and he worked with shock victims. And when they came in, they had a really high rate of dying. And he figured out that if you gave them baking soda and helped raise the pH of their blood, that they would have a more likely chance of surviving. And what he got at later on through his work at Harvard is the concept of homeostasis. There were some scientists before him, a guy named Bernard and some other people, but Dr. Cannon really coined the term. So what does it mean? Homeostasis means keeping things the same on the inside. And so it's important to keep things the same on the inside so that way our bodies can function. And hopefully you can tie this back to the earlier YouTubes or your earlier work in the course on the cell membrane and how the cell membrane really drives homeostasis. It lets things in and out of the cell, and it keeps the cell internal environment stable so that way reactions can happen. Okay, oops, this should have been covered up. So just look at the top of the slide. Homeostasis keeping levels the same in our body. It's important for our tissues and cells to function. What are some factors that you think need to be kept constant in our body? Now you can check yourself. You can see that water content, temperature, blood glucose, blood pressure, ions, sodium, potassium, and others, iron levels, blood pH, oxygen, carbon dioxide levels. Those are all really important to keep constant. All right. So negative feedback function. Hold on, let me see if I can pause this a second for. Okay, we're back. Sorry, I just had to help a student. So negative feedback, I would like to say, hey, it's like a thermostat in your kitchen, right? You turn your oven on and the thermostat says, hey, let's make it hot in here. Let's set it to maybe 200 degrees Celsius to make a pizza. So it turns it on, and then when it reaches 200, it turns it off. And when it drops below 200, it turns it back on. Kind of like your body, or like how your AC works at home. All right, it doesn't run all the time if it gets the right temperature. So you can think about it with, let's use a real example, right? You go to Crafty Kitchen and you eat a lunch meal full of carbohydrates. That means you have a whole bunch of glucose in your bloodstream. So your cells need to get that glucose out of your bloodstream and into the cells so that way they can use it as energy. And anything that's left over will get stored in your liver as what's called glycogen. So here's the glucose in your bloodstream. Your pancreas detects that, and your pancreas sends out a protein-based hormone called insulin. Insulin goes around to all the cells in your body and says, hey, there's a bunch of glucose here. Let's take it in. And so it takes in glucose into your cells so that way it can be used as energy or to make energy. Extra glucose is then stored in the liver as glycogen. And look, homeostasis has been restored. That's why I took this graphic. It's an example of negative feedback. You had a deviation from the normal. You put all this food in you. So then you had to get the glucose levels back to normal. It can work the other way as well, right? So if it drops, sorry, I don't have a picture of it. But if your blood glucose levels drop, your body secretes from the pancreas, it secretes a hormone called glucagon. And glucagon is going to go to the liver and break down glycogen to re-release glucose into the bloodstream. At the same time, your body will be secreting hormones to say you're hungry, so that way you eat more. That'd be negative feedback. Positive feedback goes in the same direction, right? And positive feedback is working. It can be very quick. It's helping to exaggerate a stimulus. So let's say you get cut on your hand and you have some clotting factors come there, some platelets. They're going to send out signals in ADP to bring more platelets there. They're going to send more signals, more signals, more signals. It's going to rapidly help to bring clotting factors to your blood vessel tear so that way you don't bleed too much. And so another example of positive feedback, one that's in almost every textbook, right, would be the birth of a baby. So the baby pushes against the cervix. It's going to send some nerve impulses to the brain, which is going to secrete oxytocin. This oxytocin is going to stimulate contractions to help push the baby out. And it's going to keep amplifying that signal until the baby's out of the mother. That way, it's the safest thing for the baby and for the mom. And then you'll be able to restore homeostasis. All right, students, good luck studying homeostasis. Remember, it's the basis of much of medicine.